What up, YouTube? Welcome to my channel. I'm Anthony TV. Look, do me a favor, guys. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button for me. Like this video and drop a comment if you got a comment. You already know I appreciate your support. Shout out to all of my new food service drivers out there, man. All of my new CDL holders. All the ones that's really interested in getting into the food service game. And maybe you're new and you're just getting out of training or you're still in orientation. This video is for you. I want to share some tips with you that I think can help you along the way in this food service game. Really basic tips. Some of this stuff you probably learned in training, but if not, I'm going to share them with you today, man. So listen, if you're new, you definitely want to listen up, and hopefully you can take some of these tips and really apply them to your daily routine as a food service delivery driver. All right. Look, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it, guys. Tip number one, don't waste time trying to get all of these cases onto your dolly when you're first starting out. These cases are in different shapes and sizes, so it's almost like playing Tetris when you're trying to load your dolly up. You're turning cases this way and that way, trying to really maximize the amount of cases you're putting on the dolly. But when you're new and you're just starting out, you don't need to be trying to focus on how many cases you can really get onto a dolly. You want to really just be focusing on getting that order inside of that customer, right? Just load your dolly up and go ahead and run those cases inside. Your speed will come over time. At a certain point, you'll be able to identify certain cases, and you know which way you can turn a case to really get it as much or as many cases onto that dolly as possible. You may have been trained by somebody who is experienced, and they probably loaded their dolly up to the max when y'all went in training. That can be you at some point, but starting out, you may want to just keep it simple. All right, so that's tip number one. Tip number two, only lift what you can physically handle safely. And this is very important because I don't want you guys to get injured out there trying to do what your trainer did when he trained you on your route. You may have seen your trainer lifting all these cases, heavy cases, loaded up to the top. Listen, only lift what you can physically handle safely. Remember, 9 times out of 10, you're probably going down a ramp, so you have to keep that in mind too. You guys want to be smart and you want to be safe at the end of the day. There's nothing wrong with taking an extra trip back to the truck to grab some more cases, as opposed to trying to put 500 cases on one dolly, right? Obviously, I'm being sarcastic when I say that, but truthfully, you guys want to be smart at the end of the day and do what you can in order to prevent yourself from getting injured. And if that means taking an extra trip to the truck, then take an extra trip to the truck. Understand that you don't have to load your dolly up to the top if you know you can't handle that. Load it up halfway or however much to where you can really handle that load safely without being injured. All right, that's tip number two. Only lift what you can physically handle. Tip number three, if you're going to a customer for the first time making a delivery, I think it's smart to always go inside of that customer if it's during business hours and find out where the cooler, dry, and freezer section is located before load your dolly up and running cases inside. Always find out where you're going to be taking that product to before you start unloading your truck. If you're like GFS, we have notes in the manifest and certain instructions that tell us, look, these cases go here, the dry, cool, and freezer is in this location or what have you. So we have notes, but sometimes those notes aren't accurate or they may not be updated. So again, if it's during business hours, just go inside of the customer and find out where the dry section at, where the cooler, and where the freezer section is at before you start unloading cases. All right, the customer may have made some changes and they may want some things in different places. So again, it's a good idea to go inside of that customer if it's during business hours to find out where they want the product at. If it's not during business hours and it's not in the notes, then you may have to just make a phone call to somebody who can give you that information. Another reason I say that is, like, for example, we have a customer on one of our routes to where they literally have about 6 different places where they want you to put product in. They have a dry storage room where they just want you to put the canned goods and the flour and sugar and chips and drinks and all this type of stuff, right? Then they have a section where they want you to put all the to-go boxes at, which is another dry good. Then they have a section where they want you to put just the napkins at. So they have different places where they want you to put things at. They have 2 coolers where they want you to put just the jello and butter and creams and stuff like that. Understand your customer and understand where they want product at. That can save you a lot of time, because if you go into a customer like I just described and they have all these different places where they want you to put cases at, if you load your dolly up like you would any normal stop, right? You go to the cooler, you're delivering cooler, you're loading up all cooler. Well, if you go inside this customer and you just load your dolly up with all cooler and you have different items that go in different places, when you go inside that customer, they're gonna tell you like, hey, you're gonna have to break that down because this goes over here, that goes over there. You got all these different cooler pieces that go in different places. If you would have known ahead of time that, hey, all of these go here, you would have loaded your dolly up differently. So just understand your customer and know where they want things at before you start taking off product. Make sure the entrance is clear before you start running in cases. So what I mean by that is, a lot of times when you get to some of these customers, they may have trash blocking the door. They may have trash cans blocking the door. Like I have a customer that I know when I go make my delivery in the morning, I have to move trash cans out the way. They may have a bag full of dirty towels in front of the door. I have to move out the way. So move all this stuff out of the way before you start running in cases. Make sure your entrance is free and clear of any type of objects that could be blocking you from getting inside. Also, walk inside of some of these freezers and coolers. Make sure they don't have anything in your way. Some stops have carts with food on it that the customer has left in there, and you have to roll the cart out before you can push your cases inside. You may have some cases that have the flaps on the boxes down or something like that that you have to, fold back in so you can go in with your dolly. So there are things like that that can just help you save some time so you don't have to worry about that stuff when you're unloading and dropping cases off. So just make sure everything is free and clear. Make sure there's nothing blocking your path when you're making your delivery. Just do that before you start running in cases. So that's another tip I want to give you guys. All right. Another tip would be to invest in some door stoppers and some bungee cords, or both. You're gonna find out that there are a lot of doors that need to be held open. If you're at a customer that allows you to hold the door open, invest in you some door stoppers or bungee cords. Remember, it's very important though to make sure that customer allows you to hold the door open, or prop the door open, I should say. Some customers don't like you to prop the door open, so you have to use your better judgment in this case. If it's at a customer that allows you to prop the door open, having door stoppers will really help you, so you can just roll cases in and not have to worry about opening the door up every time you got a load. The door's already open and you can just drop cases off. A lot of times, especially if you're making a delivery and you're by yourself, we don't have anybody there, a partner or anything like that that can hold the door open for us, or if it's overnight, you don't have anybody at the customer location, it's just you, if it's a key drop stop. So it helps if you have something that can hold the door open for you. Obviously there's always times where you may have some objects around that can, prop a door open for you, but if you already have door stoppers or a bungee cord, I think that will save you some time trying to look for things to hold the door open for you or prop the door open for you. All right. So that's it, guys. Those are the tips I want to share with you guys. There are a lot of other tips that I didn't mention, but listen, if you're an experienced driver and you have some tips that I didn't mention, definitely drop them in the comments. Help some of these new guys out, and I really would appreciate it. All right. So look, man, that's all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys have a good weekend. Be safe. It's Super Bowl Sunday, man, so y'all enjoy it. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Y'all take care. Peace.